Renee. I'm Tracy Matson, certified professional dog trainer and behavior consultant. And I'm super excited to be here with you tonight, the day before Thanksgiving. So I hope everybody has a great holiday weekend, great Thanksgiving. Not sure how many people will get tonight just because it is the day before Thanksgiving, but we'll try and see. Um, I it may be a little well, what else is new? It's always chaotic at my house, but I have a couple extra dogs here for the weekend, and so if you hear them whining or whatever, I've got one crated and one out, and we might have to go crate another one. Willie, hey, over here. So I gave Maui Willie's toy to keep Maui occupied, and now Willie's barking at him. Hey, Nicole. So I might go crate Willie really quick. Let me get Willie a different toy. Hey, Willie, here, look, go on that one. Lately, Willie's been, his favorite toy lately is cardboard boxes. But I let him chew them up, and then he leaves my dining room table alone, and he can chew up all the cardboard he wants. So, anyway, take your toy. Here's your toy. It's fun during feeding time because I've got 6 dogs, 4 are on the same food, 2 are on separate food, so I've got to feed them all separate. And oh, you have 2. Let me guess, your sister's and your mom's dog. Okay, I'm gonna go. Let me go load. Let me go put Willie up for a second. Willie, come here. Hey, how about you come up here with me? Yeah. Okay, we'll try this first, and if he's still naughty, then I'll put him. I'll go crate him. Hi, Mandy. Mandy, remind me where you're from. I think you've been here before. Brian, hello, Brian. And I'll just put Renee down too. Illinois, Ohio. Okay, as I was explaining to Nicole, I've got a few extra dogs here for the holiday weekend. So if you hear whining, stuff in the background, it's actually really cold here right now, so I don't want to put them outside. So they're crated. Normally I would just put them outside and let them play, but it's really cold. So you'll hear the little French bulldog kind of whining because he's very spoiled, and I don't think his family crates him. But when he comes here, he has to be crated. So, oh, really, you can't chew on my back. And then I have Willy Wonka that you guys have all met before, and he is a chewer, so he's trying to chew on everything. Oh, you have, so Nicole has a German Shepherd and Husky and a German Shepherd dog puppy. So who do they belong to? Or are you just being nice and pet sitting for somebody? Oh, Deb's back. Hi, Deb. Have you guys caught on? It took me a while. With Deb, I thought your last name was like Native American or something, and it's you don't even know, but I think that's hilarious. Um, okay, Maryland. Oh, your new puppy and your older daughter getting along. That's awesome. Yeah, Nicole and pet sitting as well. I'm gonna be gone all day tomorrow, but if the weather's good, then The dogs can stay outside. If not, they might have to be crated. Two of them are going to go with me. Really, if you can't behave, you're going to go in your crate. Come here. If you guys, I think most of you have met Willy, but oh, this is Willy Wonka. Say hi. This is my little foster dog. Um, he has a cart, so his back legs don't work. He's incontinent, so he wears diapers. Say, I wear diapers, even though I'm a big boy. And he is the one that's kind of whining right now because he wants Maui to come out and play, but Maui is like a 9-month-old French bulldog who is crazy, and there's no way I could do this with him running around. Plus, he is not neutered, and he goes around and tries to hump all the dogs. So it would be mass chaos. Actually, you're pretty good just sitting here. Let's see if you'll just sit here and behave. Otherwise, you're going to have to go in your crate. Yeah, this little guy is the sweetest. And he's getting his new wheels on December 13th. So he's getting some custom wheels that'll help him get around, because right now he just kind of drags his back leg. So he's pretty adorable. And there's Jade in the background. Jade's my jealous one, so whenever I'm showing attention to another dog, then Jade will come up. So I'm glad we have some people here tonight for our live. I didn't know what we would get with Thanksgiving. So hopefully you guys have some good questions for me. Last week was amazing. You guys had some really, really good questions. Until you get some questions, I'm going to tell you something that I learned this week. And I'm thinking that I should have known this, and I probably did, but didn't think about it. Because I've studied puppy development and dog development and all this, but I'm taking a class right now that goes into it like much more in depth. So this is an ethology course, which is like so amazing. It's one of the best courses I've taken. And so we were talking about all the different, like we have, the puppy ages, and then we have juvenile and adolescent teenage, and then social maturity. And social maturity can be about 2 to 3 years old, depending on the dog, depending on breed, all that kind of stuff. Maui, quiet. So one of the things that can happen during social maturity is behavior changes. And I've been having some behavior changes with one of my dogs. And I have actually 2 rescues that I rescued at different times, but they just happen to be about the same age. So they're both around 3. So they're reaching social maturity at the same time. And Jade has become a little bit more resource guardy around, like in tight spaces, especially over food. But really the only one that she really, kind of takes it out on is Daphne. And so I'm like, you guys have lived together for 2 years. What is this, and why is it getting worse? And realized from this class that it's probably because they're both reaching social maturity, and they're both female, and they're both around the same age. So it was like one of those light bulb ding, 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 ding moments. Like, oh, duh. And I'm sure that I knew that or had learned that at some point, but just didn't think about it with my own dog. So what do you do? So I'll give you an example. This week, I was trying to, because Jade eats her food really fast, she now gets fed in the kitchen in a snuffle mat. And I usually feed this guy and Daphne outside. So I went outside to feed, and my cousin's dog was in the yard, and he is crazy. So he's like jumping, trying to get at the food. So I'm trying to put him in the dog run so I can feed my two dogs. And that wasn't working. So I decided to bring this guy back in and feed him all inside in different spots. And Foot pushed his way in. Long story short, he knocked the food bowl out of my hand. Food scattered, and Daphne happened to be there right next to Jade, and Jade kind of went after her. So in grabbing Jade to get her off, I ended up getting bit. So it's actually better. This whole like finger was purple. But I ended up getting a dog bite. So it's like, okay, well, now it's more about management, which is now why Jade always has been fed in a snuffle mat, but now she gets fed behind a baby gate in a snuffle mat. By the way, if you have a dog that eats fast, she can eat her food in like 10 seconds flat. And this morning it took her 9 minutes to eat her food on a snuffle mat. So she's getting enrichment, brain work. She's safely behind a baby gate so the other dogs can eat. And now I just kind of know that I have to manage things a little bit more now that I have two dogs that are about the same age and reaching social maturity. So that was my exciting week. Okay, so Renee, Peyton is a year old. Um, Lately, her eating habits have changed, and she's startled at many things. It's just another fear period. So there have been suggestions. My two dogs are stealing a ball back and forth from each other. Um, so in one of the last conferences that I went to, they're they're suggesting that there is another fear period, but there isn't any scientific data yet on that. But they're hypothesizing that there is another fear period. So I don't know yet, but um, a lot of times, if and and it sounds like if Peyton is a year old, then she's a COVID dog, and is maybe wasn't socialized a lot during COVID, and so a lot of times we don't see behaviors come out until about a year to 18 months old. So I'm working with another dog. In fact, I saw this dog today. Same thing. We started with this dog as a puppy, and now that the dog's a year old, like super timid. Anytime anybody walks in, the dog like pees on itself, like rolls over and pees on himself, and super timid and shy. So yes, it could be a fear period, or it could be things that happen during the fear period that we're not seeing until now. So basically, what you want to do is, for one thing, you always want to give the dog choice and control of their environment. So if something startles her, like give her the option to move away and let her say, oh, this is scary. I want to go. I want to move away. I want to go over here. Um, if it's a noise, so anything that you can see that startles Peyton, you can pair that with treats. So it can be like, oh, does the garbage can scare you? Let's look at the garbage can treat. And then sometimes I'll even do a row of treats like up to the garbage can. And so that we're changing the dog's emotional response to, instead of being afraid of it, we want to be careful that we're not bribing them. So you don't want to like hold a treat and be like, come on, let's go see the garbage can. It's like, start from a distance, look at the garbage can treat, look at the can treat. And then maybe scatter treats around, but let the dog choose to go up closer if she wants to. What we did with this dog today is we started to do some shaping exercises. Like we shaped, go to your bed, and just little things that can, and we started chaining behaviors together. Like instead of just doing sit, we did like a sit, stay, release, down, stay, release. Um, just to give the dog a little bit more confidence. And and then what we're going to do is now when somebody comes over, instead of rewarding the shy, timid behavior and the peeing on himself, we're teaching him to go to his bed and lay down and stay in his bed while people come in, and then he can choose whether he wants to go up and say hi. So if it's noises that are startling her, then you can always pair that with treats. And I would kind of take note on what kind of noises are startling her and see if you can find it on an app or YouTube or something, and then start with the volume really low and play the sound and then treat. And then when the sound stops, the treat stops. And then, oh, really, you're kind of heavy. So sound stops, treat stops. And then you can increase the volume a little bit and do it again. Play the sound, treat, 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 sound stops, treat stops. So you can kind of, at this point, after a year, we just call this counter conditioning and gradual desensitization. So we're getting the dog used to it gradually, and we're pairing it with treats so that instead of it being scary, um, we're teaching the dog, oh, I like it when I hear that sound because I get treats. Does that make sense? So yeah, in answer to your question, it could be another fear period. We don't know for sure yet, but that's how I would change it. As far as the eating habits, is there anything else in your environment that has changed or could have changed? So this little Frenchie that's with me right now, he's been to my house. This is probably like his fifth or sixth time that I've watched him. And tonight was the first night that he's eaten a meal since yesterday morning. So yeah, let's see, what's today? Yeah. So he didn't eat dinner last night, didn't eat breakfast, but he's super excited to be around the dogs. He's playing a lot, running around, and he just turns his nose up at food until tonight. So you could try to make meal times more fun, like feed Peyton in a snuffle mat. Um, let's see, what else? Depending on where you live, I mean, you could even do this in grass or snow, but you could take the food and toss it into the grass or the snow and say, go hunt. So that then Peyton is using her nose, doing some nose work, things like that. So if you can be a little bit more descriptive, like tell me in what ways her eating habits have changed. Like is she not liking food? We also want to be careful. This is just an example. I'm not saying that you're doing this, but um, my last board and train puppy would not eat unless her owner was sitting in the room with her. And so I said, well, we're going to stop that pretty quick because, I have too many dogs here for that to, happen. And so what we did is I put her in the kitchen behind a baby gate, put her food down, gave her 15 minutes to eat on her own. If she didn't eat, I picked it up, and she didn't get it till lunch. And we did that twice, and then she started to eat because dogs won't let themselves starve. But what was happening is the owner was reinforcing that behavior. And so when the puppy didn't eat, he would go sit with her and hand feed her and sit there until she ate. And so she learned that, well, if I just don't eat, then my owner will come and sit with me while I eat. So he was reinforcing that behavior. So I told him, I said, unless you want to do this forever, you've got to stop now. Like she will not let herself starve. She will eat on her own when she gets hungry, but teach her how to do it without you being there. So sometimes, hey Julie, sometimes we reinforce things and we don't even realize it. Okay, let me write Julie down and then I'll answer Mandy's question. Okay. I'm going to see if I can set, Willie's very content on my lap, but he's really heavy. And he's shedding, so it's making me itch. So I'm going to put him down and then let's see if he'll be good. You lay down on your bed. Here's your toy. Okay, hopefully he won't bark. Okay, Mandy. Mandy is our 8.5-month-old lab boxer mix. Just put on trazodone for separation anxiety. Had a bad episode prior to being put on it. During that week, she didn't want to eat her food. We figured she was sick of it and vet recommended her to switch to science diet. We transitioned her from old to new, and when we fully got into the new, she didn't want to eat it, or we'd have to coax her to it. She will eat it from her hand, but not the bowl. Could she not like it, or is this typical behavior? Actually, this could be part of separation anxiety. So if a dog is really anxious and nervous, they won't eat. So that can be one of the signs of separation anxiety, is not eating. It could also be maybe a side effect from the trazodone. You could try, it's not, I don't think it's typical behavior for an 8.5-month-old. I think it's something else. So I would maybe try adding something else into it, like egg. So I will take, you can't do that. I will take the whole egg and blend it up sometimes, and then pour that in the food because the shell is really good, has calcium in it and stuff. So sometimes I'll put a whole egg in the bowl. Sometimes I'll put yogurt, something like that might add a little bit more flavor. They also have those food toppers. In fact, Pupford now has some, which I have not tried yet, but they have the toppers. So you could try that and see if mixing that in will make it more palatable. But I don't think it's typical because of age. And the fact that she'll eat it from your hand, but not the bowl, that kind of tells me that it's more separation, like anxiety, because she wants you there. So if she doesn't eat while she's by herself, it kind of is a little bit the same from what I just described with the other client. So she knows that if I don't eat, then my owner will hand feed me, and that will bring my owner closer to me, and I don't like to be alone. So does that make sense? Sometimes with meds, we do have to tweak dosages and stuff for a while, and sometimes your vet can add different meds until we get the right combination or the right dosage. So I would keep looking at it and keep in contact with your vet and just let your vet know too, like, okay, my dog is still not eating. What else can I do? There is medication that they can give a dog that will enhance their appetite to make them want to eat. So a lot of times they do that with dogs that won't eat. It's an appetite stimulant, so you could try that. And then, yeah, I would just keep in contact with your vet, but it definitely sounds more like a behavioral thing than an age-related thing. And it could very well be the medication, and it could be the separation anxiety. So again, dogs won't let themselves starve, unless if your dog is in a constant state of anxiety and stress, then it's going to be harder to eat. But you also don't want to get in the habit of hand feeding her because then it's going to reinforce that and she's going to do it all the time. Um, so I would go maybe 2 days of putting food down for 15 minutes and then picking it up. And if if she doesn't eat after like 3 or 4 meals, then I would then go back to your vet because then like something else is wrong. Because if when dogs get hungry enough, they will eat. Okay. Oh, let's see, Brian. She will eat it out of a toy. Let me see. Now I have to go back up and look at your question again. Oh, yeah, eating habits. So, and that's okay too. So if Peyton will eat the food out of a toy, that's totally fine. And I'm actually pro toy because it gives them some mental stimulation and some enrichment at the same time. So I like to use like the Kong wobbler. I like for Jade, I use a snuffle mat now. Um, so eating food out of a toy is fine. It was interesting last night in puppy class. We were practicing weight for food. So I passed out, um, the silver. What are they called? Steel bowls. And the dogs were scared of them. And we were on a cement floor, but I guess the sound that the steel bowl made on the floor, the dogs, like none of the puppies would go near the bowl to get the treats out of the bowl. It was great in teaching them weight because they waited because they didn't want to go get the food out of the bowl. And I'm like, oh, this is a great way to teach weight. But sometimes it can be the type of bowl or the sound or something. But yeah, if Peyton will eat out of a toy, I think that's totally fine. I think that's great. Um, okay. Oh, Pupford, I love you guys too. That's probably Natalie and Haley because we were texting right before I went on. So Marion, welcome. Oh, Marion, I still need to message you. I forgot about our service dog stuff. Okay, and Marion's from Utah. Marion, let's see. I found a lot of dogs need desensitization from different food or drink container noises. Yes, and this is one thing that we always do in puppy classes. I usually use like a vacuum just to demonstrate how to get them used to first the object and then the sound and then the movement and then we put it all together. Um, but yes, you're right. Some dogs do need to be desensitized to that stuff. And so, Mandy, it's a weird coincidence that this happened all in the same week. Yes, I agree, but I think it all has to do with each other. I think it's the separation anxiety and the medication. Um, and sometimes trazodone can make you kind of drowsy. I mean, it kind of brings your anxiety down, but it makes you a little bit, it can make you drowsy. Um, so if that's happening and the dog's not like really hungry, it may take a little bit of an adjustment period too. So that's why I would give it a couple days. But if you don't see improvement in like 2 days, then I would talk to your vet again and see if dogs react differently to medications, and so you may need to tweak dosage. Like I said, try a different med, something like that. There's also something really cool that sorry, I'm trying to keep track of like 6 dogs and make sure that there's no like fighting over toys. And you can hear Maui in there. He's in his crate with a toy because he's just, let's just say he's crazy. He's a French bulldog, about a year old now, so he's just like all over the place. Um, so this really cool thing, if you have a vet that isn't really familiar with behavior meds, and there's a lot of vets that aren't. So a lot of veterinarians, when they go to vet school, they only have like one course or one semester on behavior and behavior meds, believe it or not. And that's why we now have like veterinary behaviorists that go to 3 more years of school, and that's all they do is behavior. So I know that I work with several vets that will sometimes ask me, well, like, what do you think that, like I'll refer a client to them and say, hey, I'm referring this client to you because I think the dog, like, I want your opinion on behavior meds, just for anxiety, we're working on aggression or whatever. And they'll ask me, like, well, what do you recommend? And I'm like, well, I'm not a vet. Like, it is illegal and unethical for me to say, oh, well, can we try trazodone or can we try um, Prozac or something? Like, I can't do that because I'm not a vet. But if your vet is not really familiar with behavior meds, um, most veterinary behaviorists will do a vet to vet consult. So that means like your vet, if your vet says, look, I just haven't really had a lot of experience with separation anxiety and I don't really know what medications to do, then your vet can have a consult with a veterinary behaviorist, and the veterinary behaviorist will recommend medication. They'll usually, I don't know how much it costs. They will pass that cost on to the client, which would be you. But if it means, it's usually like a 30-minute phone call. But if that means like helping your dog and getting your dog on the right medication, right dosage, and things like that, I think it would be like totally worth it. So that's something else to keep in mind if you have a vet that just is like, I just don't you know know what meds to do. Some vets are really knowledgeable about behavior meds, and some just aren't, and it's just because they don't spend a lot of time with that in school. So my niece right now is getting her undergraduate, and she wants to be a vet, and so I keep trying to talk her into being a veterinary behaviorist because there's not a ton, and we have none in Utah. So I usually refer them to Oregon, and they do it all virtually. So, and you have to really love behavior to want to be a veterinary behaviorist because, some vets really love like emergency medicine, like working in an ER, something like that. Or some just want general practice, or you have, vets that are like, I want to, specialize in orthopedics and do surgery. So I don't know what path she'll take, but I'm like trying to coax her into like, oh, hey, how about going to 3 more years after vet school and be a veterinary behaviorist? So I don't know, we'll see. Um, oh, Marion, I'm finally using my service dog in training at work. He just turned a year. Awesome. Still learning, but it's coming along. Journey with Phoenix. Oh, that's amazing. Um, so since there's no other questions yet, I'm gonna just kind of talk about what we're doing and what I was gonna talk to Marion about. A friend of mine and I are trying to start a nonprofit where we are going to take rescue dogs and train them to be service dogs for responders that can't afford a service dog. So Marion can attest that if you go out and you want to get an already trained service dog, you're going to spend at least 10 grand. Um, and so, some people can't afford that, and some people, especially like with PTSD, they just don't have the, like, it's too stressful for them to do the training. I mean, I'm a trainer, and it's even stressful for me sometimes to do Jade's training because Jade's in training to be a service dog. But even sometimes with her, it's stressful. And I've joked with my trainer before that's like, can I just send Jade to your house for a month and you train her? Because believe it or not, it is harder to train your own dog. It is so easy for me to train other people's dogs than my own dog. I don't know why that is, but it is. So even though she's doing really well, and but we still have a lot to work on. But even as a trainer, it takes a lot of time and patience. And I've already spent probably a couple $1,000 working with another trainer on the scent part of it, like recognizing when a migraine's coming on, stuff like that. So it's a lot of work. So anyway, our goal is to use rescue dogs and train them, and then place them. Hey, 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 hey! Great. Oops, sorry. See, that's what I was trying to watch. Okay, I'm gonna give me 1 second. I'm gonna go crate a dog. Okay, come here. See, that wasn't very nice. Okay, okay, go eat your phone. Sorry about that. That is my 3-year-old that is now having behavior changes and um, starting to exhibit some agonistic behavior towards her siblings and other dogs. So, Jake, hey, here, over here. Why don't you come over here? So anyway, yeah, I'm trying to also keep an eye on 6 dogs to make sure they're all being good. And I didn't see Willie go over to Jade, who had a toy, and Jade snapped at him. Okay, so Marion says yes. I use my own trainer to train my service dog, and I'm currently training 3 service dogs for others. That's a great idea. Um, that is a really good idea. I should probably do that with mine. Hey, hey, Nelly, stop. I should probably do that with mine, but I do want to train her because I I like to do the training. It's just harder to train your own dog. And just so you guys all know that I understand where you're coming from when you get frustrated. Um, I am a terrible test taker. So when I have to test with her, I get nervous and she feeds off of that. And then we never do as well um, in our testing as we do in real life because I just like get nervous and she can tell. So that's a really good idea, Marion. Um, so anyway, that's kind of what we're working on is training these dogs, and these are all going to be, like I said, first responders, so military, police, um, firefighter, paramedics, anybody that has PTSD and can't train their own dog, and if they don't have the funds for a dog, then we're going to try to do most of the training until it gets to the task work, and then we'll work with them on the task work. So we actually have a pilot class going on right now on Tuesday nights, and we're working with a foster that has one of the dogs, and then a self-trained, so a guy that's actually training his own dog. So it's been very, very interesting, but it's a lot of fun. Hello, Fiorella. Haven't seen you in a while, and I see Willow's back. Okay, let's see. Better write everybody down. Willow. Oh, we have a good group tonight. I was honestly worried that we wouldn't have anybody the night before Thanksgiving. Um, okay, so Willow, I know in the Facebook we're not allowed to talk about like service dogs and stuff like that, but I think in this context, I'm gonna go ahead and do it because I sort of brought it up. If they tell me later that we can't, then I won't bring it up anymore. But I think if you guys have questions about it, I'm happy to answer them. Um, Also, just to kind of let you know, I've trained mobility dogs before, but I've never trained a scent like a dog that alerts to seizures, diabetes, gluten. So that's why I'm working with a trainer. And then we're working on Jade being a migraine alert dog for me. Um, but for our nonprofit, my training partner is, she's got experience training emotional support dogs and dogs for PTSD. So I'll be doing more of like the public access or um, the the mobility stuff, and then she's going to do the other stuff. So um, anyway, that's kind of what we're doing. So Willow, one thing I would ask is how old is Gertie? Um, and I think it's great if you have disabilities. Some things to remember is not every dog is cut out to be a service animal. So I've had three. Well, Jade will be my third, but I've had two not work out because they didn't have the right temperament. Um, One was just like too kind of nervous out in public, and the other one I didn't trust not to bite somebody, honestly. So not every dog will work, and even in our nonprofit group, and even in my private clients that I am trying to work on, sometimes I have to tell people like I just don't think your dog is gonna work, and I don't want to discourage you, but I just want to like just kind of let you know. Some dogs are really, really good at it. But I have two clients right now that the one I just told him, I said, I just don't think that your dog's going to be able to do this. Um, and one reason is the dog's 7 years old, and it takes at least 2 years. By that time, the dog's 9, and the husband who has dementia, which is why they're training the dog, is constantly reinforcing bad habits, and so it's not helping the dog at all. Um, the other one, I honestly didn't think this dog would make a good service dog, but um, the mom has worked so hard with this dog that he's actually coming along quite well. So he's actually doing really, really well. Um, so yeah, you never know. It just depends on how well you're able to work with them. Um, okay, Deb, I'm going to come back and answer yours. Marion, um, I'm using a trainer who knows how to scent train to help me and give me homework so I keep at it. Yes, that's basically what I'm doing too. Because I don't do the scent training. I mean, I've never done it before. I'm learning. But yeah, and then she's kind of giving me like she gives me things to work on, and then I check stuff off with her. So it keeps me accountable, which I love because otherwise I would probably um, you know not do it. Okay. All right, let me see. Julie's taking a break from Thanksgiving. Good for you. Um, my mom does Thanksgiving every year, and I don't eat turkey, so it's basically a mashed potatoes and gravy day for me. But I love it, so it's fine. And I'm behind on training plans, so I'll probably go to my mom's tomorrow with my computer and work a lot of the day. Okay, so Deb, I would love to teach my lab to retrieve a specific mentioned item just for fun. He has a good fetch already. Okay, that I can help you with. So um, this is what I did with Jade. So first, I taught Jade to hand target, like touch. And then I started with a sticky note and taught her to target the sticky note on my hand. Um, and then I would have her target like the sticky note. Then I kind of taught her a take. So first we target, and then it's take, um, which means put it in your mouth, and then drop it. So I would teach her to take stuff and then drop it. And we started with a sticky note, and then you can go to like a light dumbbell or anything kind of. Let's see if I can find this toy that I just had. Oh, maybe I put it in Willie's thing with him. Anyway, it's just a long, kind of like what they use with hunting dogs, the little retriever thing. Just something easy that you can practice having the dog put in their mouth and then drop. And then I kind of get it closer and closer to the ground. And then sometimes I'll play, so with Jade, I totally shaped it. And honestly, out of the 3 service dogs that I've had, it's been harder to teach her to pick stuff up for me. She's really smart, but for some reason, my other 2 dogs got it pretty quick, and it's taken her longer. But so I will tease it, kind of tease her with it. So like if this is the toy, I'll say, "Oh, Jade, get it, take it, take it, take it," and I'll kind of play with her until she puts her mouth on it, and then I'll click and treat. And then I'll do it closer to the ground, and then I'll kind of move it around on the ground, and say, take, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. And then as soon as she like puts it in her mouth, then I'll tell her to drop it, and she drops it. I click and treat. Then we move to her dropping it into my hand. This took several months, but now she's starting. Now she's getting it. So the other day, um, I was doing dishes and I took the lid off of a like a water bottle like this. You guys all have your Pupford water bottles. These are the best. So I was washing dishes and I took a lid off, not this water bottle, but like it, and I dropped it on the ground. And I said, "Oh, Jay, could you pick that up for me?" She picked it up, brought it over to me, and dropped it in my hand. And I'm like, oh, amazing. And I actually have treats in different rooms of the house. So I have some in the upstairs bathroom. I have some downstairs in the kitchen. So anytime I'm in a room, like I'll purposely drop something and I'll say, "Oh, Jay, can you pick that up?" And I want to make sure that I can reward her for that. So when hey Maui, play it. So when she picks it up and hands it to me, then I make sure that I reward her. So yeah, I usually start with a sticky note or a piece of paper just because it's light and you can like crinkle it and make it move and get the dog to just like bite it. And as soon as they put their mouth on it, I click and treat. And I start with just that. Just put it in your mouth, click and treat. And then I put a word to that, which is take. And also I'll say, get it, take, and then click and treat. And then usually they spit it out anyway because it's just paper. And so then that's where I teach the out or the drop it. And then we get closer to the ground, and then we start with different objects. So I usually start with something easy like I usually start with a pen or pencil after the paper. Um, and then I'll do like a highlighter, hair tie. The hardest things to pick up are quarter, and credit card. So we're kind of practicing that right now. She won't pick up my keys yet because, um, the steel and stuff, metal, they don't really like. So the other thing that you can do, we did this with one of my clients' dogs. She made like a rope toy. And I don't have one handy, but you can also use anything that you can attach. So anyway, so my client made like a rope toy, and when we were teaching her dog to pick something up, we would start with the rope toy and teach her to like grab the rope, bring it to us. So then we would take the rope and tie it around a pencil. And then, so then we would, drop the pencil and ask the dog, pick that up. And he would pick it up with by the rope and give it to us. And then we eventually took the rope away and did it with just the pencil or pen. So you can do that as well. And probably what I'll do with my keys is attach the little, oh, I don't even know what to call it. I have two of them to practice with, but I'll attach, I'll teach her to pick that up, but then I'll attach that to my keys and have Jade pick it up with that and give it to me. I'm also working on with Jade to pick her leash up for me and hand me the um, handle. So, like if we're at church or something like that, I can just say, "Oh, Jade, hand me your leash," and then she can just pick it up and hand it to me. So we are working on that as well. Um, so Deb, there are some YouTube videos on how to teach your dog to pick up items. Um, and I did start with a video, but I didn't get all the way through the video. I just kind of started with that, and then um, I ended up going back the way that I did it with my other two dogs. The reason I tried the video is because Jade just like wasn't getting it. So I thought, okay, I need to do something different with her. So I started with a video, which basically just recommended, starting with like a light dumbbell or something that they can easily put in their mouth. Um, and then I kind of went back to the way I did it, and she did finally get it. It took, like I said, it took a couple months, but she finally got it. So Willow, what temperament are you supposed to look for? Um, so you want a dog that's confident. The reason that my one dog didn't work is because he was too timid and he just didn't have the confidence. But you want a dog that's like, not afraid of, people or noises or other dogs. Um, and, when your dog's working, your dog's not going to be like really socializing with other animals or people anyway, but you don't want a dog that's going to be afraid. So, so you want a dog that's confident. Um, I know when they tested Jade, they wanted to see how well she would take direction, how well she could problem solve. So like they put food under a bowl to see if she could try to figure out how to get it. They also like did a lot of noises, like distractions, like dropping a cookie sheet. Just then they wanted to see if she would walk on a cookie sheet because you want a dog that will walk in different surfaces. So like airport split floors, like in grocery stores, carpet, like all different kinds of things. Um, and your dog might have to ride in an elevator at some point. So just enough confidence to do those things. And yeah, my first dog that I trained, he was 2 when I got him, and I think we started his training at about 3, 2.5 to 3. So he was like right on that border. Um, and so yeah, I'm kind of with Marion, but that being said, I started Maddie at 5. But Maddie picked up really quick, and she already had like such a calm temperament, but she was still, very confident. And so, she did great. But just remember that even at 3, so I'm not saying that you can't do it at 3, because you can, um, but you just want to make sure that you understand it could take like 2 years. So then by the time your dog is ready, your dog's going to be 5 or 6. And if you have a large breed, large breeds don't live as long as like smaller breeds as well. So right now, one of the guys in our program is he has a 9-year-old. And I said, I definitely wouldn't recommend a 9-year-old, but you can bring your dog to class and start practicing and learning how to, what to do, so that when you do get a dog, or if we get a dog for you, then you'll already like know how to do stuff. So if that makes sense. Um, Travis, hello, Travis. Let me write Travis down. Travis, if I remember right, you are from Canada. Let's see how good my memory is. Okay, okay, you're going to agility, so good for you for doing agility. Before I go, I have a question. How do you introduce a 3-year-old dog to a puppy? The puppy is my friend. Today we had a meeting in a neutral area and they did okay, sniffing and such, perfect. We then went into Mickey's yard and did really good off leash. However, the puppy was nervous. Furthermore, this is the same friend that will watch Mickey while we are away for a week. Um, yes. So give me 1 second. I've got to move Jade away from one of the dogs. Hey, Jade, let's take this one over here. Okay? Come here. Come here, Jade. There, you come in here. Okay, Jade, come. Okay, see, it's all about management. And since I know what Jade's triggers are, and she was going up to take Maddie's toy, I'm trying to not have an issue. Okay, so what you did was perfect. Like, go to a neutral area. The next thing that I would do is go for a side-by-side walk. So just take the dogs for a walk together, because they're going to be air sniffing, they're going to be gathering information, um, and and doing the sniffing and stuff is great. The other thing that you want to do is maybe put Mickey on leash and let the puppy off leash. So if the puppy's the one that's nervous, let the puppy decide if he wants to go up. Maddie, come on, you come up. Um, let the puppy have the agency to decide if he or she wants to go up to Mickey or not. Because the puppy might need a little bit more time to be like, okay, this is a big dog. This is an older dog than me. And some puppies are really nervous when they meet Maddie, because Maddie's 70 pounds and basically looks like this. But she's really a gentle giant. But she has very good social skills, so she's really good with puppies, and actually Jade is too. So yeah, I would do the same thing you're doing, and it might just take 2 or 3 times. So if I'm working with a really shy dog, or even sometimes a dog selective dog, um, I'll do 2 or 3 greetings first. So before I let the dogs like off leash or whatever, what you did first was great, and then maybe go on a walk together, keep the dogs on leash, go on a side by side walk together, let them do a couple more sniffs, um, and then maybe drop the puppy's leash and let the puppy choose to go up to Mickey. And then if the puppy does go up to Mickey and does some sniffing or whatever, use lots of praise. Like praise Mickey for being calm, um, and then praise the puppy for being brave and like, oh, good job! Like, look how brave you are. That's so awesome. Um, and just like praise for that. But it might take the pup like a little bit of time to get used to Mickey, but it can still be done. So that's what I would do. Um, oh, so yeah, Travis, sorry that I didn't get to this sooner, but hopefully you can watch this later. And you can always email me um, if you want to videotape the greeting as well and the interaction. If you want to send me a videotape of it, then feel free to do that as well. And I'm happy to look at it and kind of give you tips that way. But yeah, especially with a 16-week-old, we always want to give the dogs choice and control. And it sounds like Mickey's already, um, really great dog and social. So that's why I would keep Mickey on a leash and then let the um, puppy kind of have the freedom to move closer or further away. Um, so Marion, yep, I've had two not make it as a service dog. Yeah, same. Let's see. Willow, I'm trying to figure out how I could teach her for anxiety, autism, depression, PTSD. Um, Actually, yes, you can train a dog for all of those things. You're probably going to need a trainer because it's really hard to train those things on your own. But yes, it is totally possible. Um, and yeah, a lot of the tests. And Willow, if you want to email me as well, I'm just going to put my email in here for you and Travis. I can show you how to find a trainer in your area, or I can help you like via Zoom, like do virtual consults with you, and I give 10% discount for all Pupford people, so off my regular price. So if you can't find anybody in your area to help you, I can help you. Um, One thing that I've learned, and it's funny, I can't get people here to do virtual consults. Everybody wants me in their home, especially with aggressive dogs. They think I need to walk in and have a dog want to eat me to fix it. And I just was in a conference last weekend, and I totally agree with this trainer. She said it actually works better because as trainers, like I tend to just jump in and say, okay, here, let me see your dog, and then I can get the dog to do stuff. But if I am home, then I have to talk the person through it, and it makes them a better trainer because then they're actually doing it with their dog. I can't micromanage, and but then it gives the client more confidence because they're actually training their dog. So it really does work. And if you're a visual learner, I have videos on what to do, or other trainers do too. So you can use videos. I have done like during COVID, we did all virtual, and I think it worked really well. To demo stuff with my dog, and then to talk people through step by step. So, yep, it is absolutely possible. And yes, all of the things that you listed, Willow, are totally doable. Um, okay, Fiorella, this is a great question. Today I was walking with my 2-year-old Westie through an alley when I saw a woman schnauzer on a leash and lunging towards my dog. As I've mentioned before, my dog has a history of barking at other dogs, especially when the others start. But this time he didn't, and I was happy for it. That's awesome. However, I wanted to turn away for him not to get stressed out, but a man was coming with his kid behind, so I couldn't. Um, the woman kept coming, and her dog passed by extremely close, trying to bite my dog's face, and he didn't react. Well, that's awesome for your dog. Um, the other woman should have had a little bit more control over her dog, but one thing that I do, Maui, quiet. You're gonna have to go outside. Um, one thing that I do is I will do what's called a come front. And so if I can't turn and go the other way, basically I'll step off the path or the sidewalk or whatever. And so let's say, oh geez, I'm not in my office, so I don't have my little dog figurine. But let's say I'm walking this way, I might like step off to the side, but then bring the dog in facing me. So come front to me is come sit and watch me. So if you're in an alley, you might have to like step right against the wall, have your dog come in and sit and watch you, and then fast feed treats while the other dog passes you and while the guy and his son pass you. Um, so you're just basically refocusing your dog on you instead of the other dog. It kind of takes your dog out. I know it's in an alley, depending on how big it is, you might not have a ton of space. Another thing that you can do is move your dog to the other side. So that's one thing that I teach with Jade. I call it posting. So if she's on my left side, if I say post, she moves over to my right side. And we do that more for walking through grocery stores and stuff. If she's on my right and I say post, she goes to my left. And you can do that by luring the dog behind you. Um, so you can teach your dog to go to the other side just so another dog isn't lunging and trying to bite your dog's face. So you could try that as well. But that was so good that your dog didn't react. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to put Maui outside for a minute because I don't know. He might have to go potty. And then I'll answer your second part. No, you are being very naughty. Come here. You can go outside for a little minute, okay? Goodness. Sorry for all the interruptions. I actually thought about doing this at my office tonight, but since I was gone all day and the dogs have been crated, I didn't want to put them back in a crate for another 2 hours. Now watch, he's gonna bark at the back door. I can ignore him better. Okay, so the next part of that, after that, we went to an open park where there were no dogs and we started to play football. Unfortunately, a male Frenchie came running straight towards my dog. I turned away and called my dog because I saw him licking his nose and he followed me. Great. When I thought we were far away from the Frenchie, I gave my dog water and the Frenchie came running again. And as soon as my dog saw him, he immediately scared him by chasing him and snapped at him. When the dog was starting to go away, he stopped. Was this behavior okay? Absolutely. Because the Frenchie, was kind of like infringing on your dog's like personal space and following him, and your dog was giving some pretty clear cues like lip licking and stuff like that, and the Frenchie came running back at him. So when your dog, so I'm assuming that it was your dog that snapped at the Frenchie. That is totally appropriate. That is your dog saying, like, knock it off. you're too close and I don't like what you're doing. And that is totally appropriate. So when like as an example, when Maui tries to hump Jade because Maui's intact, Jade will turn around and correct him. And I allow her to. Like all she does is snap at him, but it's her way of saying, hey, that's rude. I don't want you to hump me, and then knock it off. That is appropriate. Um, it was somewhat not appropriate. So if I don't know if you were here when I put Willie in his crate, but Willie was on the bed and Jade was came up and like got one of the toys, and then Willie got too close, and so Jade snapped at him. And that's kind of, that's resource guarding, but because Willie is um, younger and he had the toy and then Jade took it from him and then Willie went over to her, I I did, and I kind of felt like the correction that Jade gave Willie was a little bit too harsh. And so that's why I just said, hey, or however I did it. And then I separated them. So I put Willie in a crate. And then now that all the dogs, you should see my house right now, it looks like a daycare. All of the dogs have decided that we're going to play with toys and we're going to get all the toys out of the toy box and they're all scattered around. But since Maddie had a toy and Jade was getting up close, and I know Jade can kind of guard, um, beds, food, toys, I gave Jade the toy and put her in a crate, and she's being totally calm. So, yeah, sometimes you have to manage those situations, but what your dog did was totally appropriate. And you want to make sure that if your dog snaps, I mean, I think from everything you've told me, like huge win for your dog today because not only did he get snapped at by another dog and walked right by calmly. That's awesome. And then when you called him, he turned away and came to you with the Frenchie running around. That's awesome. And then just gave the dog a quick, snapped at him and gave a correction. Um, and yes, he's not really necessarily defending himself so much as just saying like, hey, you need to back up. I don't like what you're doing. And that is appropriate. So um, I'm just reading the last part of your question. And when the dog started to go away, your dog stopped. So that was like totally fine. So it was more like not defending himself, but it was more just it's the same way with humans that say, hey, 6 feet, could you stand 6 feet back, or could you like not stand so close to me in the grocery line, or something like that. It's just a personal space thing. So it's no different than us just saying, could you back up? That's all your dog was doing. So yes, that behavior was okay. I think that is a huge win for you today. And I'm so excited that I can hardly stand it because your dog won in about 3 different um, scenarios today, meaning that your dog didn't overreact, didn't do anything appropriate, wasn't reactive, did a correction, an appropriate correction, and there was no dog fight, nothing. Your dog gave a correction and the other dog backed away, and that's what we want. Um, and you shouldn't feel bad like this because what your dog did was amazing. And he handled himself very well. Now, if your dog would have like chased the other dog down and attacked him, yeah, then you can feel bad. The other dog may have deserved it if he's like being like, ongoing pestering, but your dog gave a correction and the other dog backed away. And that's why you also want to make sure that when your dog does a correction like that you don't punish him or get mad at him. because that's when you will then have a dog that's like, well, okay, I get in trouble when I warn, so now I'm going to go right to biting. Not saying that you're doing that, but that's what we see a lot of times. So I would not feel bad at all, and I would be, if I were you, I would be elated that you had some pretty significant things handle and your dog stayed below threshold, and I think that's awesome. So congrats to you and your dog because I that's perfect. Um, so okay, Willow, yeah, your main struggle is just trying to fight. So Willow, email me at Tracy with an I at Pupford.com, and I will see if I can help find a trainer in your area. And if we if I can't, then like I said, I can help you virtually, um, and I will give you a discount. So yes, just email me because you do want to make sure that you find one of the guys that we're working with right now. When he called me, the first thing he said is, "Are you the real deal, or are you just going to take my money?" Because he had already gone through two people who had just took his money. And I felt so bad that I actually ended up giving him, I evaluated his dog for free, and I let him do his first class for free. Um, I mean, before this pilot program. But he met somebody in Salt Lake, gave these people like a couple $1,000, um, and these guys spent like 20 minutes with this dog, and then he never heard from them again. So he was very. So you want to be really careful because some people will scam you and just take your money, and we don't want that. So yeah, let me try to help you get a trainer. In fact, well, if you can give me your zip code, I can do some work on my own and see if there's anybody in your area. And then if there's not, um, we can help you virtually. And with the for the stuff that I don't do, like my training partner is much better with like the PTSD stuff. I know how to do some of it, but she she knows a lot more than I do. She can work with you as well, and I will ask her nicely if she will give you a discount as well, and I'm sure she will because she doesn't have to drive anywhere, and she and I are both like tired of driving all over. Um, okay, so I think I've answered everything so far. Let me just go back and can you guys hear Maui like at the back door just freaking out? You can tell he's very spoiled at home and gets whatever he wants. And right now he's getting ignored. And when he's calm and quiet, I'm going to let him in. Um, okay, I just want to make sure I didn't pass anybody because I sometimes jump around. Um, so Willow, my one of my best friends, her in-laws are from Iowa, so she goes back to Iowa a couple times a year. Okay. And Deb, I need to make a video on how I taught Jay to pick things up. If I can get her to go back to the very basic, or maybe even teach one of my other dogs how to do it so that I can videotape it, because I know it's hard to see, understand like what I'm trying to explain. It's easier, at least I'm a visual learner, so it's easier for me to see it. Um, so I'll have to see if I can videotape that if you're interested in seeing it. Um, okay. I'm excited that Travis is doing agility with his dog. That's great. Okay. Oh, it made sense. Good. Yeah, Willow, you can just email your zip code to me, and I will. I'll see what trainers are in your area, and I'll kind of look at their profile and see if they do service dog training. But yeah, and if not, we can help you. Okay, let's do a drawing and see who wins a bag of training treats. This will be a great. Well, you won't get it by Thanksgiving, but okay. While I'm tearing all this up and putting them in a bowl, if you guys check out our my own Instagram, my other trainer, she made up this recipe, and I am not kidding. This looked like a real pumpkin pie. Like it looked like a pumpkin pie, but it was for dogs. And then she videotaped her dog eating this pumpkin. It was pumpkin. I don't know what she made the crust and stuff out of, but I'm gonna put our. I'm sure that Pupford's already put a lot of Thanksgiving stuff on there. But if you want to see how to do this pumpkin pie for your dog, here's our Instagram. I'm not a social media person, so I pay somebody else to do it. But she told me that she posted this today, and I looked, I'm like, that looks like just like a pumpkin pie, but it was all dog ingredients, like all for the dog. Okay, so tonight's winner is Mandy Morano from Ohio. So congratulations, Mandy. Let me type in your name in here. So Mandy, you are going to email hello@pupford.com and let them know what kind of treats you want. And I will email them as well and let them know that you're the winner. And remember, they've got salmon, rabbit, beef, chicken, sweet potato. Wanted to make sure I knew all 5 flavors. And let them know what kind, and they will send those out to you. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited that we had a big group tonight, the day before Thanksgiving. You all have a very happy Thanksgiving. Um, my dogs get their own little Thanksgiving plate for Thanksgiving. So, yeah, they kind of get spoiled on Thanksgiving. And we still do supervised, separated, everybody's safe, but I do give them their own little plate of, turkey with no bones and like their own little special thing. It's usually gone in like 5 seconds, but they still get to enjoy it. So, everybody have a great, safe, happy Thanksgiving, and I will see you guys next Wednesday. Thanks so much.